wiki, and I know all the numbers and all that from I can't ever forget. It's Alturas or Likely. I think he was born in Likely, raised. I don't know. We'll find out. The analyst for your Sacramento Kings, Kayte Christensen. Good morning, Kayte.
Good morning.
You were born in Likely and raised in Alturas, right?
I was born in Lakeview, Oregon.
Oh, why does it say Likely?
Well, I grew up in Likely.
Oh, well, it says you were
because everything we read on the internet, it's definitely true.
I know. All right, I'll go edit that later.
Oh.
How are you? Look, I haven't talked to you, so everyone chill. We got to catch up here. How was a holiday? How was a Christmas? I just imagine your house. Let me say, your house, 10-foot tall, probably real Christmas tree, decked to the nines, and then it looked like the presents actually overflowed, and you had to stack some on like a piano or something. How close?
Real Christmas tree.
Yeah.
10 foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a great Christmas. We had a great New Year. Everything is, and it's freaking goes so fast. So, yeah, it was great. Hopefully yours was too.
Do you have a piano?
I do. I have my great grandmother's piano. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you play it?
A little bit. It's been a long time since I've done lessons, but yeah, I can get a little something done on there.
So if we went over to the house and you said, all right, I can play this, what would you feel comfortable right now playing as a song?
Ooh, great question, Jason.
Probably part of Lean on Me and Jingle Bells, actually.
Oh,
could you mix them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mix them together. I'm not doing a remix, but yeah, those are the two I could probably manage for you.
I don't ever know what it's called. But the one where one person goes ding, 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 and then the other person goes ding, 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 ding. Can you do that?
I don't know what it's called. Wasn't that on Big?
Yeah, that was the Big with Robert Loggia and Tom Hanks. That was the one.
Yeah.
That was the big piano.
Yes, in the department store. Yeah.
That's a great scene. So now that we've got all that out of the way, I'm vamping here.
Pleasantries.
Yeah. All right. Good. So, Kayte. Struggle bus for the team. Let's just be honest. There's a little struggle this year for your Sacramento Kings. Somebody mentioned the other day though, they're 8 and 29, but long season to go too. Mm-hmm. So what kind of a challenge it is, would you say, for the coaches really, and maybe the vets, to keep everybody fully engaged, knowing that, never say never, but barring a miracle, Kings probably will not be playing in June. Just saying. I don't want to be negative.
Oh, Dave.
Okay.
I mean, losing is hard, for everybody involved. It just wears on you in a different way. So yeah, I mean, it definitely can be challenging from a mental perspective and keeping guys engaged. I think what's harder also is just kind of, you look at OKC a few years ago, right? I think they had a 14-win season and a 17-win season, right? But they had their pieces together that they were building with. They were just young and they were learning, and they just had to insert one or two other pieces that really kind of completed the thing. And they had injuries. Chet Holmgren didn't play. I believe it was his first year because of that injury to his foot, if memory serves. And so, yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff, it happens in the NBA. I think the hardest part right now with the Kings struggling to win is that it's very well known from a media standpoint, with everything that is out there, that there's a lot of changes coming, right? That the roster as it's constructed is nothing close to what they want to build with going forward. So I think that's a harder part from the player's perspective, because it's like Doug's asking you to go out and change mentality and culture and all of these things. And it's hard what he's trying to institute. He's asking a lot of players from what he's demanding from a defensive perspective and mentality perspective and all of that, and to be engaged. And Doug's mentality as a player, he was just so ultra competitive, and just not every player is built that way, with that level of edge. And so, I think it's got to be hard, I would imagine, for players. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes of being like, I'm being asked to do all of these things, but I'm also very aware that I'm not actually a piece of kind of what they're building going forward. Like, I don't know what my fate is, but I know it's not here. Just when is it not here? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think of that as like a comp for the everyday person out there, Kayte.
No, on the right wing, feeds on top.
Well,
yeah,
hey, Gary.
Because in the real world, like, there's nothing quite like this. The only thing I could think of is, I've accepted a job and I'm leaving in 2 weeks, but your boss is still asking you to do something over the last 2 weeks. It's like, well, I don't know how much I'm as into that task because I'm leaving here soon. And no, none of these guys know that they're leaving for sure, but they could be. How difficult is that as an athlete to know? I know it's the business, and to hear the trade rumors, and it's so different with social media now too, just to try to be a pro, to try to play, but then also going, well, you know what? In the end, I may not even be here in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. Or during the off season, right?
Yeah.
I have a great real life analogy for this. Actually, from a friend, someone I know that's physically going through this right now. It's like you're working for a company and they're saying that they're going to promote you, right? And then you go through the whole process and they've told everyone that, we're working towards promoting this person and they're going to be in charge of this or whatever. And then they end up hiring somebody else. And then they ask you to train that person that's going to be taking over the spot that you were promised. You know what I mean? It's very much like that, right? So there are real world, analogies to it. But the difference is that in the real world, someone can be like, well, I don't like how I was treated. I was promised this and didn't get this, so I'm going to leave the company. In professional sports, you have no control. You've signed a contract. You are where you are. And so I think that's kind of, the closest real world analogy that I can give. But you can see how it still doesn't, the end doesn't factor in the same because, everyone else in their job has the ability to leave whenever they want. Athletes don't have that ability. You are where you are. Plus, you also know that you have to play to a certain level to where you're also desirable for someone else. Right. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the trade rumors and all of that stuff, these guys have been doing this now for a long time. Like, I didn't play in an era where there was social media yet. And I can't imagine, and before that, even in the NBA and so on and so forth, there were definitely trade rumors, but it was also in print. So they weren't using print space to, heavily report on rumors, right? Now everything is just out there. And kind of like where I was born in Nique, California, how do you know it's true or not? The rumors that you're hearing online, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's such an interesting, and this is always, this time of year in the NBA is always like, oh my God, there's so much conjecture and prognosticating and all of that stuff. And like, how much of it actually ends up, coming to fruition? Like, it's just, I can't imagine as a player that it is a joyful time of the season.
So let's explore that because I think it's a fascinating thing to think about. I really do spend way too much time thinking about this. Never having been a professional athlete, I always do try to give grace, Kayte, in the sense that regardless of whether you can dunk a basketball or how much money you make or whatever, you're a human and you have a wife or a husband or kids or friends or all of the above. And, but also devil's advocate here. If you were fired, if I was fired, if Jason was fired, we've all got kids, we're not financially set for the rest of our lives. All of these guys' great grandkids are going to be going to private schools, Our Lady of the whatever the hell or something.
I mean, they could be, yeah.
Right. So, and I know that it's a perspective thing and that doesn't make them immune, but also when you factor in, and again, lifelong Kings fan, no disrespect to the team or the franchise. I love them. I'll die in a Kings coffin. Probably not the most fun place to play right now, especially for guys that are later in their career. So does that make it? I imagine there's times where guys are like, I really hope I really want a better team. I want to compete in the playoffs. And, then you're paying somebody to do all your moving for you. You're getting one of them pods, You know, I feel like there's both sides of the coin, or no?
If I'm understanding what you're saying, I guess it's a little confusing. But then again, I have a hard time following you most of the time. Yeah, from the life perspective, yeah, I mean, they are human beings. Like, all of this stuff matters. And I would assume that, you know, as a player, when you've been in the league a long time and you're, you know, kind of the end is closer than the beginning, right?
Right.
That, you know, if you haven't won, you definitely, that's what you want. You're trying to be in a position to win. And so I do imagine it is difficult in terms of that. But also, I mean, I guess the other side of the coin is you have value for teams that are trying to win and are, like, competitive to the point where they have a chance, right? And so I guess maybe that the other side of the coin is your value is high because of your experience and what you bring, so that, you know, kind of like the Jimmy Butler situation in Golden State. It's like maybe that's the piece that sets them over the top last year, right? So I think, you know, I would imagine their perspective, you kind of have to look at it that way and be like, well, you know, maybe I'm going to end up somewhere where it puts me in a situation where I might have an opportunity to compete for a championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the second part, I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, well, neither do I. Back to you.
Jason, do you? I mean, did I miss something?
I was, okay, honestly, I was trying to basically say, full disclosure, I was trying to say, or trying to bring up, well, these guys are super rich, and also this team isn't great, so are there people on this team that probably want to get the hell out of here? But I also wanted to be aware that I'm talking to somebody who has to be with the team all the time, so as I got buried in the question, I tried to soften it up at the end.
Okay.
That's why I, you know, kind of tongue-tied myself there. I didn't want to be,
okay.
You know what I'm saying. Anyways, good answer. Back to you, Jason Rose.
Okay. Kayte, on the flip side of this, if we go to the young players, I'm thinking about a quote, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when Keegan was asked about, you know, the season, the struggles. And he said, I've never experienced this. I've never gone through this kind of losing. So I think about Keegan. I think about Keon. I mean, we could throw Carter, Cardwell, Clifford, Raynaud in there. At some version of those guys will be on this team again next year and in the years to come. What do you think they're taking from this? Look, nobody's enjoying it, but there are lessons to be learned. What do you think the young group is getting out of experiencing, you know, this really tough time?
You know, the interesting thing about it, and you're right, I had never actually considered that. Keegan came in and this team was highly competitive. And so this is a different kind of growing pain for him to go through because it's a little bit later in his NBA career, right? It's not the very beginning. He's now, you know, kind of been here a few years, and it's a little bit of an adjustment, I'm sure, for him. But I don't know. I think it's really important who you have around you when you're a professional athlete. And there's two elements here. First of all, when you do have young guys that you know are a legitimate part of your future moving forward, the tough thing is you want them to gain experience, but you also don't want them to get used to losing, basically. Like I think that's the most challenging thing when a team is struggling to this component. But to the point of it's important who you have around you, listen, if we're being very honest, these rookies are getting an opportunity that they never probably would have gotten this season if the Kings weren't just obliterated by injuries.
Yeah.
So they're getting to play and have major roles when that wasn't probably what the you know, game plan was coming into the season. So, you know, hopefully the people around them are really driving that point home to them is like, yes, losing is difficult. This is challenging, but you're getting such an amazing opportunity right now. And the most important thing is for you to take advantage of it and to grow and to, you know, increase the rate of your growth at a level that, you know, you probably weren't going to get the opportunity to showcase it and to be in those positions. Like last night, like, you know, I haven't watched the full second half of the game yet. That's the nice thing about calling them is that I can do the bedtime routine with the kids and I actually can go to bed at a decent hour. But, I thought, like, particularly in the first half, you look at Max going up against AD. There's some early foul trouble. You can see where it's like, okay, this is like, how do you adjust, right? And I thought that he did a really good job holding his own and challenging and continuing to, like, even when you do commit the foul, like, it's the adjustment. It's what do you learn from that? How do you adjust moving forward as the game goes on? And, like, just continue to play and just continue to work hard. And I thought that he did a really good job in that aspect. So, I just look at it with the young guys as, like, hopefully, and I'm, from knowing them all, they're delightful. Like, this is a really good group of young players in terms of just their engagement with each other. Like, when I speak to them, the way that they interact with all of us and how they carry themselves, I'm, like, wildly impressed by these three rookies. And, like, that is such a great foundation for them to have in their first year, because it kind of sets the tone for them moving forward. Because we all know that, just your physical play on the floor is not the only thing that makes you a good professional. There's multiple components to it. And, like, my goodness, do they all have it? Like, I'm really impressed by this group of rookies.
Kayte Christensen joining us. Kayte, last night, not sure if you heard or not, and I'm not going to put words in DeMar's mouth, but he was doing his post game, and he spoke to the lack of organization. He mentioned, can she hear that, or do I need to put her on hold? All right, I'm going to put. I want you to hear this quote, because I suspect that some people are sort of taking it out of context, rather than its actual, meaning. But again, I don't want to put words in your mouth either. Here, I'm going to put you on hold. Here's DeMar DeRozan on organization last night.
Just got to be better with execution, understanding what we could take advantage of, spacing, timing on spacing, understanding, how teams playing us, if they doubling, who they doubling, where they doubling from. I think just being more organized with us, more so than anything. That's the only issue. We don't give ourselves consistently chances to get, good shots off, good looks off. So I think that's all it is.
So I'm not trying to take bullets for the coaching staff or anything. I think a lot of people, maybe correctly.
I don't think that is at all directed at coaching staff.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is your instinct as well that he's talking more about on-floor organization and communication between players?
Yeah, and the five on the floor. Yeah. And I agree with him. Like, listen, DeMar is, like, top tier in the NBA at exactly that. Like, he understands the game at such a high level. He knows, and it's because of his years of experience. And he knows if he gets to his spot on that left baseline in his ISO spot, he knows where the trap is coming from. He knows where the next kick is. And then the second pass after that, he knows how to optimize those situations because he's been in them hundreds and hundreds of times, right? Yeah. And so I think part of it is that. And, like, you've got young guys playing a lot of minutes, and you've had, when you look at roster construction, these guys haven't been together a long time. So it is about organization, but it's also about decision-making down the stretch, right? And this isn't a coaching thing in my mind. You give them all the tools, they know, but they're the ones that make the decision out on the floor. The really only factor you have is your decision of who you have on the floor in those moments. And I've just felt like the team overall, like, say over the last 2-3 weeks, have done a better job of moving the ball, multiple passes, switch side to side, penetrate, get to the paint, kick, like, just really make the defense have to work, and they're getting quality shots. But then I feel like in the fourth quarter recently, what has been kind of the downfall in some of these games is that they kind of get away from that for whatever reason. And it is true that when a game is close at the end, you really do kind of, most teams in the NBA, like, and I would say most, if not all of the teams in the NBA, they go to someone that is proven in those situations, and it does kind of slow down and becomes more ISO driven. My thing that I always say on the broadcast, and this is just from the standpoint of, like, being out there on the floor, it drives me insane when they know it's going to be an ISO situation. And like, say, for example, you're going to put the ball in DeMar's hands. You know where his spots are. When all 4 people stand and do not move, like set a screen away, set a double stagger away, like just even if you're not going to go to it, make the other defenders on the floor have to stay more aware, right? And then who knows? Maybe they make a mistake and you get a wide open layup or something like that. For those things, to me, it's a little bit of like on floor recognition and organization. That's kind of what I feel like he might be speaking to a little bit. And again, I haven't talked to DeMar, so I don't know if that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
But that is my, kind of conclusion after hearing it. But I don't at all feel like that's a shot at the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Kayte, I know we're almost done here, but I have a quick follow-up on that. Just from your playing days and a player perspective, how often would you say, it doesn't even have to be late game situation, but we'll include late game situation, maybe out of a timeout, play is called by said coach. How often is it run to perfection, or is there a lot of vamping on those situations?
I think that there's a lot of there can be vamping, but I think that's more of the exception to the rule. I think out of like timeout execution, like the ATOs, those are executed usually at a really high rate. Now, the thing is about it is that there's a myriad of options from that. There's option 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So then it's up to the players on the floor to be able to like recognize what the defense is doing and to execute from that, to make a decision and make the right decision. And so I think that is more of what can sometimes be the downfall, is that if you're too married to option number 1 and you force it, then you're missing option 2, maybe 3, which is going to be a better option just based on what the defense is giving you. Because listen, this league is highly scouted. Everyone knows everyone's timeouts, like, what they're going to run out of them, that type of thing. And so you really have to be able at a high level to read it and make good decisions. And, they've put out so many different lineups this year due to injuries, and just Doug trying to find groups that play well together that he trusts and that can address like issues that they're having, like rebounding, or how who on the floor is going to be able to execute the defense on this screen or whatever. So I think that that's also a thing. Like teams that have more experience and are like winning teams, they've kind of figured out the puzzle and the ingredients to the pie, if you will. And so those players have that established chemistry, and they also know each other's games well enough, and in those situations have more experience. So the level of the fail level is lower, if you will.
That's Kayte Christensen, analyst for your Sacramento Kings, joining us each and every Wednesday. Kayte, have a good rest of the week. Nice to talk to you. Glad you had a good holiday. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, you guys have a good one.
All right,
Thank
you
you
too. That's Kayte. We'll take a break. When we come back, what's on deck? Got some more fun facts for you and more coming up right after this.
This is the drive.